السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في الكلام المجيد والقرآن الحميد: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam's position is higher. His position is just after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From all the creation, he is top of the creation. Of all the prophets, he is top of the prophets because he is Imam al-Anbiya. In Baitul Maqdis, when it was there, all the prophets were standing. Jibreel Islam held his hand, moved him to be the Imam of all the Anbiya. And because of him, his ummah is given the highest position of all the ummahs. Every prophet has his ummah, but Rasulullah's ummah has been given the highest position. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself says in Al-Quran Al-Kareem, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. You are the best of the nations raised among the mankind. And what makes us superior to all the nations? That تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. We spread, we tell to do what is right, and we forbid from what is wrong and evil, and believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 3 conditions. So Amar bil Maruf and Nahi al Munkar is very, very important for us because that is the landmark that distinguishes us from other ummahs. So this is a very big responsibility. But at the same time, how should we do it? For anything you want to do in Islam, in ibadah or any activities, remember there are 4 rules to be followed. Number 1, Al-Quran Al-Kareem. Number 2 is the Sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number 3 is Ijma, conscientious collection from the companions or the scholars joined together. And the 4th one is Qiyas. When you cannot find any things to do to follow from the Quran, the Sunnah or the Ijma, then you can make your own decision how I should do this. Okay? So remember 4 things to follow: Quran, Sunnah, Ijma and Qiyas. And when you want to do Amar bil Ma'ruf and Nahi al Munkar, there has to be some aims. There has to be some rules to follow. The foremost important rule is you want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has to be ikhlas. Imam Bukhari has selected the first hadith to start Sahih al-Bukhari, and that is Innamal a'malu binniyat. All your deeds depend on your intention. So, please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that must be the foremost thing for you to remember. The second thing is to seek refuge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from shaitan. Because you want to do something good, but if you are not seeking protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the shaitan is going to misguide you for the good things you want to do. That's why the most important thing for us is Al-Quran Al-Kareem. Al-Quran Al-Kareem. And when we want to recite what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا قرأت القرآن فاستعذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Whenever you want to recite Al-Quran Al-Kareem, seek the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the cursed shaitan. Why? Because if you don't say that, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim before starting, the shaitan can misguide you from Quran itself. You want to do some good deed, if you don't have the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from shaitan, the shaitan will guide you to do something harmful from the Quran itself. So this is very, very important for us to remember. So first thing, the rule number one, and the aim one is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second thing is to seek protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the shaitan curse one. The third thing is, whenever you want to do something good, and Amar bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar, do not humiliate people. Do not humiliate persons. And the final thing is that your aim should be that you want to find some results from what you are doing. Some benefit. Not that just, oh, I want to just do this. I don't care what happens. No, you should make sure that you are going to have some results of this one. This is very, very important for us to remember. Otherwise, we might think we are doing something good, but at the end, it may not be a good thing to do. I might have said this before. There was some gathering, and a person made some mistake. And the scholar or the imam was there, and he shouted at that person and said, "Excuse me, you shouldn't do it like this," in front of everybody. And that man kept quiet. He was waiting till all the people left. And when this imam or the scholar was alone, he came to him. And now the scholar saw that, oh, there's going to be some argument now because I shouted and said something. So he came along and said, okay, what do you want to say? I said, no, please calm down. Can I ask 2 questions? And the imam said, okay, what's the question? He said, first of all, am I worse than Fir'aun? And he said, no, you can't be worse, because Fir'aun is the worst person who claimed himself to be Ana Rabbukumul A'la. He said, I am the highest of the gods. You're not you. Fir'aun is the lowest and lowest. So he said, okay, you believe I am better than the Fir'aun? He said, of course you are better. And then he said, the second question is, are you better than Musa alayhi salam? He said, Astaghfirullah, Musa alayhi salam was a prophet. And not only a prophet, he is one of the 5 distinguished prophets which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala selected. He said, yes, I just wanted to confirm it. He said, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Musa alayhi salam to Pharaoh, what did he tell to Musa alayhi salam? And this is in Surah Taha, Surah 24, ayah number 44, if you want to go back home. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فَقُولَا لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا لَعَلَّهُ يَتَذَكَّرُ أَوْ يَخْشَى. O Musa, when you are going to the Pharaoh, speak to him with the gentle words. Perhaps he may understand, he may remember, or have fear. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling Musa alayhi salam how to do dawah. Amar bil Ma'ruf Nahy anil Munkar. How? Speak with gentle and kind words. Because we want to get some results. So then the scholar said, I'm sorry. He said that if you want to say anything to correct anybody, wait, you have quiet moment, or come to that person, have a direct contact, rather than making a fuss in front of everybody. That's not going to help. Sometime that person might get offended and you'll say, okay, I did this mistake, I will ever going to make this mistake, I will never rectify this mistake. If he says that, you are responsible for making him this reward. The second thing, this is, I said, the guidance from Quran, the Sunnah, Ijma and Qiyas. So I just covered the Quran itself. One point. The second is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah An-Nahl, Surah 16, ayah number is 25. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling that invite towards path of Allah with number one, wisdom, number two, beautiful preaching, and number three, reasoning with ways that are beneficial and gracious. So you want to say, this is from the Quran. Now come to the Sunnah. How Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam did Amar bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar. One day he's sitting with the companions, and a young man comes behind, and he asks Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, give me permission to commit zina. Can you see? Imagine, people are sitting around Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this young boy comes and says, and the Sahaba were angry, tried to hit him. Rasulullah said, stop. Give way. Come here, boy, come here. He asked him to come near. When he came near, he said, sit down in front of me. And he sat down. You remember in Hadith Jibreel, when Jibreel Islam came, he came and sat close to Rasulullah. His knees were touching the knees of Rasulullah. Similarly, this boy was asked to come and sit. When he came and sit, Rasulullah moved. His knees are touching this boy's knees. He said, come here. I said, would you like somebody to commit zina to your mother? He got upset. No way. I said, okay, would you like somebody to commit zina to your sister? I said, of course not. He said, would you like somebody to commit zina to your daughter? I said, of course not. He said, the person you want to commit zina, it could be somebody's mother. It could be somebody's sister. It could be somebody's daughter. He suddenly got shameful. Rasulullah said, come near me. And he put his right hand on the chest of this person and made dua. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clear his heart from evil thoughts. Clear his heart from evil thoughts. Clear his heart from evil thoughts. And suddenly that boy's head moved down and tears came in his eyes. And afterwards he went. And the Sahaba says that from that day onwards, we saw this boy, the most pious and most shyful person, never raised his eyes above, always looking down. This is the teaching of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how to do dawah, how to do Amar bil Ma'ruf, Nahy anil Munkar. Another incident. After Rasulullah is going out with Ali radiallahu ta'ala. They were traveling, and one place under the tree a person was sleeping. Rasulullah told Ali radiallahu ta'ala, wake him up and ask him to do Asr Salah, because soon it will be dark and Maghrib approaching. So Ali radiallahu ta'ala went, woke him up, and then told him to do Asr Salah. So this person was wiping his eyes and then looked at Ali radiallahu ta'ala and then, okay. He went and then performed. And afterwards Ali radiallahu ta'ala was asking. And he said, Rasulullah, can I ask? He said, yes, what do you want to ask? He said, you are the one who have been given the authority to do dawah. And you told me to ask this person to do, wake him up to us. He said, Ali, if that person woke up and was upset and he tells you, I don't want to do the salah, he might have committed a minor sin. If I would have woken up and if he did the same to me, he has committed a big shirk, a big sin. When the Prophet says anything to do, and you say, I don't want to do, that is a very big sin. So this is the way of doing the dawah. And the most important thing for us to remember, azan, when we call for prayer. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Al-Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam never did azan. The reason is, if people hear and after that they didn't come to the prayers, they have been noted down as big sinners. So this is from the Quran and this is from the Sunnah. And from the companions also, I'll tell you an incident. Umar Radiallahu Ta'ala, during his Khilafah, he used to travel on the streets and checking if everything is okay or not. One time he was traveling, and from one of the walls of a house, he could hear some lady singing and a bottle or some water being poured or something like that. He came near and then he thought this person is committing some crime, some sin. So he climbed up the wall. The houses of that time were not two-story buildings, smaller house with smaller walls. So he jumped from the backyard and came into that house, and he saw a person sitting and a lady was singing in front of him, and there is some glass and could have been wine in it. And he said, what are you doing? You know the punishment of drinking wine? That is so many lashes. I am going to give you so many lashes to you. And this person realized, and then he said, Amirul Mu'minin, please wait. I haven't even drank the wine. I haven't committed a sin. And Amirul Mu'minin, you have committed 3 mistakes. And Umar ibn Khattab says, what did I do? He said in Surah Al-Hujurat, look at these people. MashaAllah, they know the Quran. He said in Surah Al-Hujurat, chapter 49, ayah number 12, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu ijtanibu kaseeran min az-zann inna ba'da az-zanni ismun wa la tajassasu. Oh, you believe, avoid a lot of suspicions. For some suspicions are counted as sin. And do not spy on each and one another. So you thought I'm drinking wine? I haven't drank the wine. And don't be spy looking after what is happening in the other people's house. The second thing is that, what is the second mistake I made? He says Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, ayah number 189. وَلَيْسَ الْبِرَّ بِأَنْ تَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ ظُهُورِهَا. Do not enter the house from the back. You came to the And the third mistake you did, Surah An-Nur, ayah number 27 of chapter 24. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu la tadkhulu buyutan ghayra buyutikum hatta tastanisu wa tusallimu ala ahliha. O believers, do not enter other than your houses until you have asked and seek the permission of the owner and wish them peace. You never asked my permission to enter my house. You have committed 3 mistakes. And Umar realized, he said, okay, I'm not going to do any punishment, and you please forgive me. And he went away. Second, from the companions, Hassan Hussain Radiallahu Ta'ala, young boy sitting in Masjid Nabi, and then suddenly a man comes, he did the wudu, made a mistake. And he was going to perform the salah. He said, uncle, please wait for 1 minute. And then I said, can you see my brother is going to do the wudu? If he makes any mistakes, can you correct him? And the brothers did the same 2 or 3 mistakes this person made during the wudu. And The brother corrected. He said that not like this. My grandfather, Nabi Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, used to tell, don't do this, don't do this. He corrected 3 mistakes of your brother, and then suddenly the man realized that, oh, I made these mistakes. Instead of telling me that you made a mistake, you asked me to sit, and the mistakes was done by your brother, and you corrected him. He embraced them, he sucked them, he smiled them, and kissed them, and they said, I am very grateful to my children to teach me. So this is the way how Amar bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar is done. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us for us to do righteous things, good things in the manner we have been taught in the Quran and the Sunnah and the Ijma. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.